going on, everybody? It's Matt Marchese, also known as Islanders Daily, here with your news from everything from the four-time Stanley Cup champions, New York Islanders, and we're back for another episode today. It is an off day for the New York Islanders. No preseason games. Well, there will be a preseason game occurring when you watch this video tomorrow, but there's no preseason games while I'm recording this on tonight, and yeah, it was we'll talk a little bit more about the game. I did my review in the most recent episode. But yeah, so to start it off, the Islanders have made their first cuts to the training camp roster, where they have let go Thomas Polton, Burke Hood, and Luca Romano. And makes sense, right? It obviously makes sense. Those guys were obviously only here. They were not going to make the team out of the camp. And they served their purpose. They got all into a game besides Burke Hood, the goaltender. Romano and Polton did play last night where they look solid. I think Luca Romano, his line, on the other hand, was not that good. I don't think the line performed that well. But you definitely saw the talent within Luca Romano, and he had an unbelievable shootout goal. I know we talked about it last night, but that goal was certainly something. And when he finally gets to this NHL roster, that's going to definitely be a good sign to have someone we can trust on those shootouts and penalty kills, because it feels like it's been forever since we've had somebody who can score on them like no problem. Probably Franz Nielsen was the last guy who was scoring on those shootout goals nonstop. So makes sense with Romano going. He got his game. He looked solid. Definitely was work that needed to be done, but he's a young player, and he looks solid. Polton, same thing there. He was going back to the Canadian Hockey League as well. He played solid game as well. You know, he played with pace. He was a strong skater. He did everything he had to do, and he got his first taste of NHL action and looked pretty solid in it. So that's all you can ask for. And then Burke Hood, he did not get any action. He was a goaltender. He struggled early on in camp from what we've heard. He wasn't used to, the NHL shots. Once camp kept going on and he kept facing the shots, he definitely improved. So the Islanders didn't use him in a game, but he'll be back into the CHL as well. All three are going back to junior hockey, and it makes sense. So those are the first three to be trimmed down. So yeah, they all served what they had to do, and that's really all you can ask for at the end of the day. And now, some good news is Kahan Herson's injury is only day-to-day, so he did not suffer a serious injury in that game from that hit by Noah Juleson yesterday, and that's all we can ask for. And if you notice, he was not sent in those roster cuts down there. So I believe the Islanders are wanting to get him into at least one more game in the preseason, which I would love to see. I'd love to see Herson in one more game. I think he looked really strong in that first game. Obviously got caught with his head down at one point, but he was physical. He was a hard-nosed player, and he looked solid on the defensive end, real solid. So I hope to see, Herson be able to get into one more game, and hopefully that injury is truly day-to-day, and hopefully we'll see him at least one more time in the preseason before he is eventually sent back down to the OHL as well. And then in other news, Danny Nelson of Islanders pick from a few years back has been named the co-captain of Notre Dame. So he is essentially the captain, but in college hockey you sometimes have two captains. He's one of the two captains for the Notre Dame hockey team, and just well-deserved for Danny Nelson. I'm excited to get him up into the NHL potentially soon as maybe next season. I think that he probably needs a couple years in the AHL, but he's definitely a really strong power forward, two-way forward, and I think he could be a big help for the Islanders in the future. If you look at his stats last year in 36 games, he had 13 goals, 13 assists for 26 points, but was super solid defensively and was a great leader in that Notre Dame locker room, which is all you can ask for. That is a player who I'd want on the Islanders, somebody who can play in that third line, strong defense, add in a goal here and there. And yeah, hopefully that is the case. Hopefully Danny Nelson is able to improve in his junior year of college hockey. I said next year. He still has 2 years of college hockey left, and he'll play all 4 years, Danny Nelson, for Notre Dame. And hopefully he's, improves. Just a steady improvement. That's all we can ask for. Hopefully he improves this year and his first year as captain of Notre Dame. And yeah, just congratulations to Danny Nelson. A huge achievement to be named the captain of Notre Dame hockey. And then finally, I'm going to just be talking a little bit about the people who I was impressed with in last game and people who I was not impressed with last game. And to start it off, I'll get it going right away. Matthew Schaefer, super impressive game. He played a ton. He was out there a ton. He played 24 minutes and 39 seconds in this game, the second most on the Islanders, only behind Tony DeAngelo, who played 25 minutes and 21 seconds. And it felt like he was out there all the time. It did feel like Matthew Schaefer was out there all the time. I talked a little bit about it yesterday, where he did take those 2 penalties and had that turnover, which resulted in a goal. But Patrick Waugh, in his press game conference, did not really care. He said, it's just all about learning. He says he has all the support he needs, and yeah, that's what we need. That's what we need. And Waugh says on that turnover, this is Waugh's quote. He says, "We didn't do a very good job forward wise. We were all turning. If one had stood up on the strong side, it would have been an easy pass for him." So right there, we see Waugh kind of blaming the forwards for Matthew Schaefer's mistake. I don't know if he's saying it to give the confidence to the young fellow or something, but definitely positive reinforcement by Patrick Waugh. Something that I think he's trying to lean into more this year and not kind of the negative stuff, which I'm hopeful. We'll see. And yeah, strong performance by Matthew Schaefer. Obviously had that assist in the game. And yes, he made that turnover, but he did everything else that was asked from him. And Waugh praised his confidence. He made that turnover, gave up the goal, and said he went right back to the bench and didn't let him affect him at all. He got right back into the game and was ready for the next shift. So definitely a good sign for such a young player in the NHL to, be ready to go. And obviously, there's questions about the physicality. If an 18-year-old would be able to handle it. He had 5 hits taken. He got hit 5 times, and, there was no effect. He took the hits to make the play, essentially, and that's all we can ask for. That is all we can ask for. It seemed like he wasn't really too worried about it at all, and that is a great sign, and I'm so excited to continue to see Matthew Schaefer on this Islanders team, and hopefully we will see him, I should say, in another preseason game, as he will definitely get past the preseason. He will get his 9-game trial period in the NHL, and yeah, so solid game for Matthew Schaefer. My other standout was Matt Barzal. I thought Matt Barzal played absolutely wonderful. Obviously, there was questions concerning his knee injury. Did not affect him whatsoever. He was skating great last night, and that's all we can hope for. We got to hope that he can continue to skate really well, and yeah, that's all we can ask. That's all we can ask. Just continue to keep the skating up. Obviously, he's still, stick-handled a little too much, but that's all, that's what we get with Matt Barzal. So definitely was impressed with him. Also was impressed with Maxim Shabanov. I thought he did a great job on the board battles, was physical, especially for a small stature. That is super huge. He was not afraid to go into those board battles, not afraid to get physical, not afraid to get in contact, and I know that was some worries. Would he be able to contend with these tall guys in the NHL? It looked like it did not have an effect with him at all. He looked strong on the board battles, especially for being someone so small. He was strong. He was winning them, and that is a great sign, and I'm really excited to see Shabanov this season. And then my disappointment was McWard, who's on defense. He really struggled. Obviously, a guy who won't be on the Islanders, but definitely struggled in the game defensively. He had a couple defensive lapses where he got kind of caught in the middle, got beat on a couple plays, so struggling game there. And obviously, I talked about Anders Lee last night. I was pretty harsh. It was just a tough game by Anders Lee all the way around. He looked like he was slow skating. The hands weren't there. He just had trouble all game. And like I said, hopefully it's just rust. Hopefully Anders Lee was just a little rusty and he'll be back ready. But I definitely think we need to see Anders Lee in, another game as soon as possible to get that rust off, because the captain really struggled, and I really hope he's able to turn it around for the season, because a good Anders Lee means a good Islanders team, and that's exactly what we need. So that's kind of essentially it. Everybody else was just middle of the pack, nothing too noteworthy. Obviously, Horvat played solid. Palmieri played solid. Marshall Warren scored a goal. I think defensively he struggled a little, but offensively he looked really strong. So yeah, that's kind of all of the main guys I want to talk about. Our next game will be, when you're watching this, it will be the night that you are watching this. For me, it is tomorrow night. We play the New Jersey Devils. Obviously, the Devils played the Rangers the same day we played the Flyers. They lost 5-3. And the Devils didn't really have any of their real players playing in that game. So I'm assuming that we will probably see some of the Devils regulars in our game. I wonder if we'll see a Jack Hughes, maybe a Luke Hughes playing. That's definitely a possibility. And hopefully that I actually kind of want those guys to play so our younger players can get more experience going up against, professional NHLers. I really like when those guys have an opportunity. I'm sure the other teams think the same, but yeah, I'm sure we will see our third and fourth line go in this game as we had our first and second go against the Flyers. I'm sure our third and fourth will be going up against the Devils this game with our other juniors playing. And I'm assuming Sorokin will probably get some time in net tomorrow. I think that he will definitely get a period. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not sure what the rosters will be yet. I'm assuming it might be Sorokin, and I don't know because we do have Hogberg and Lennox there, so I really wonder who they'll go with in goalie. I definitely think, I don't know. I would like Sorokin to get some time, but I could definitely see a case scenario where it's Hogberg and Lennox as the two goalies. So we'll just have to wait and see for the lineups tomorrow. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed. Hopefully the Islanders are able to pick up a win against the Devils. I'll have my post-game recap for that in 2 days episodes. So, in 2 days we'll have that recap. And yeah, so hopefully everything goes well. And if you guys have any comments, be sure to leave them down below and I'll get back to you, hopefully in the comments or in a video itself. And as always, let's go Islanders.